Hello and welcome to an action-packed edition of the NBL1 show. I'm Megan Hustwaite, and at the desk, as always, is the wonderful, delightful Peter Hooley.
That was very nice of you. Good to be here and action-packed. Yep, only two conferences. South and Central both had a bye, Queen's birthday, long weekend. So that was part of it. Obviously, we know that Victoria's still not up and running. Hopefully, we get an update on that soon. We haven't got one from the league, but hopefully the NBL1 South can get back up and running in the next couple of weeks. Everyone's itching to play and we want to get out there, but no update on that yet. So we'll get Central back next week. But there's some big news that's popped in this weekend. Probably none bigger, to be honest.
None bigger in the history of this competition. We are going to talk about that in depth. We've also got a big guest coming up today. We are heading up to Brisbane and catching up with Maddison Rocci, who's having a wonderful season with the Spartans. So looking forward to having a good chat to her. She's been in the Opal squad, missed out on the Olympics, but I reckon she's one of the rising young stars of Australian women's basketball, and NBL1 is playing a huge role in the development of her career.
No doubt. So exciting to watch her growth over the last couple of years, but that last WNBL season, she was outstanding and really put herself in that conversation for will she go to the Tokyo Olympics. She had every chance to be there and she'll be there eventually, but looking forward to chatting with her.
Let's get down to business, because one of the biggest signings in the history of this competition happened over the weekend out west. At Mandurah, to be exact. They are called the Magic, and we reckon that this recruit is going to weave a lot of that this season. Pete Hooley, tell us who it is.
Well, everyone knows now because the social media blew up. Scott Machado heading to NBL1 West. That is a huge signing for the league, for Mandurah. Everything is just going to be so exciting to see him on the floor, and I cannot wait to see him in action. However they managed to get him is just a credit to the club and to the league, NBL1 West, for that. And no doubt it's the biggest signing that we'll see across the league in some years. We know what he's done in Cairns. This is a guy who was All-NBL first team in his first year with the Taipans and does have another year to play for the Taipans under contract. And you wonder if just everything going on with the pandemic is he doesn't want to leave, doesn't want maybe hates hotel quarantines and doesn't want to risk doing that again. So just wanted a place to play and keep fit, which is outstanding. And hopefully at some point we can get to chat to him to just find out what really enticed him to play, because this season's been so long and there's been so many interruptions throughout that you could not blame him if he wanted to rest. There's a superstar of the league, but he wants to keep playing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does.
There's a lot to unpack here, because just the fact that this competition in its second season, but first as a national league, has attracted a player like that, I think it speaks so much to the standard of this season. But also for NBL1 West and the Magic, we know that it's the first season for WA, and of course they had a little COVID shutdown there, which meant that we had a little hiccup, but it's just huge, such a huge boost to basketball in WA. But for the Magic, I mean, it's not like it's sort of the Perth-based team. It's just such a shot in the arm for that club.
What's going to be really good is I don't think he's going to come in with the mindset of I'm going to tear up the league, I'm going to be the MVP. He doesn't need to do that. We know that he's an elite player in the NBL, so I think he's going to come in there, obviously just keep playing, trying to refine his craft, but he's going to really teach these young guys about how to really go out there and play at the highest level. They get to learn from a true professional, a superstar in the NBL. Obviously, Ricky Grace is the assistant coach of the team. His son plays on the team, so that's a perfect opportunity to get some individual workouts as one of the best point guards in the league in the NBL. So that's where I think it's really going to be beneficial. And everyone's going to attract the crowds. Everyone's going to go watch Scott Machado. And I think he's just going to go out there and help everybody else grow, become better, help the team grow, help the club grow. I'm sure Ricky Grace had a few phone calls there saying, mate, we'll just come over there, we'll get some things done, we'll work out together, which is going to make him obviously primed, ready to go for the NBL season when that starts up. But I think he's going to have a bigger impact off the court in the NBL1 West, because he doesn't need to come in and prove anything, does he?
Yeah.
He's proved it where he's been in the NBA, he's been around the G League, he's been everywhere. So there's nothing for him to prove by going there, just what he's going to have the impact-wise on and off the court. But I think off the court is just going to be outstanding.
I think it's a great point, because it's attracting crowds, and we talk about crowds every week and the players getting to play in front of crowds again, which is great. So that's fantastic for the door, for home games. It's great for the players in the Magic team being able to learn off a player of his expertise, but also the players that will get to play against him in the competition. You're not going to get any better chance to test yourself against the best.
Well, it's exciting for that, isn't it? Opposition players, seeing Scott Machado on the roster, the scout's going to change. Everything's going to change about going up against a guy of his calibre. And you talk about NBL1 competitions nationwide. A lot of it is away from when you're not training and playing, you're doing a lot of community stuff with the younger levels in the club. So that's going to be a chance for him walking around, doing some community work, doing some coaching for the under 14s, under 12s, 16s. So this is just so positive on every single level. I love it. And hopefully this is the beginning, that we see a couple of other guys, big names, imports maybe, who decide, look, we're not playing anymore. We've got 4 months off NBL season. I want to stay in the best shape possible. I don't want to go back overseas right now because everything's unpredictable in terms of where you can go. So maybe I hang around and we see some more signings. Maybe he is the trailblazer that we see some massive import signings in the off-season. Yeah,
for sure. It's a great poster boy and advertisement for NBL1, which takes us into the NBL1 Men's Team of the Week. And I guess a beneficiary of the NBL season coming to a close. The final series is whittling down. It means we're seeing some exceptional NBL talent into this competition and into this Team of the Week.
Well, we do, and that's the men's Team of the Week right there. Tanner Krebs, straight off the Brisbane Bullets. He had a couple of little injury scares, but still in the NBL season, but just coming out and showing what he can do. These are what the young guys have to do. Come in, really tear up the NBL1, get ready for a big NBL season. He had 34, 13 and 7 versus Brisbane, and then Caleb Davis had 28, 12 and 5 versus Goldfields for Warrior. That's a big game from Caleb Davis.
Nathan Sobey, hasn't he been a terrific story the last couple of months at the Bullets and, of course, with the Boomers? 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists in an overtime win over Ipswich.
And he's one that you'd expect maybe he's going to take a bit of time off. Obviously, with the Bullets, they just finished straight into it, and he's had some big games before in that league. And he's the man following up that we just spoke about, Jerami Grace, 31, 10 and 5 versus the Eastern Suns, and then 21, 5 and 2 versus Coburn. He's only going to get better playing alongside Scott Machado, so I'm sure they're going to welcome that signing and see how those two go in the backcourt.
And then, of course, Jeremy Kendall joined us a few weeks ago on the show. We continue to see what he's made of.
Well, he had 24 and 12. He's always going to get it done. But just touching on NBL1 North, Harry Froling, all the NBL guys are back straight into action. No break there. Harry Froling had 21 and 14 over the win over Gold Coast. Majuk Deng had 16 and 5. Nate Jawai, good to see him running around. He's going to go out there. Again, these are going to bring some crowds in. These guys, everyone loves, Cairns fans love the basketball from these guys that they're going to bring in. Mirko Jeric was out there playing, balling around in that win over the Southern Districts. Brendan Teese has gone up there to play. And then we just touched on Nathan Sobey and Tanner Krebs. So it's just an exciting time for NBL1 North. And now that those teams are done for the season, they get to go out there and put on a show.
And because we haven't got basketball, let alone crowds in Victoria right now, I know, look at the bottom lip. Look at it. It's so great to see those crowds and that atmosphere. And I think in that last clip we saw, the crowd going off and doing the YMCA, and that's just so exciting.
Well, it's going to be exciting. You're going to see those high-profile guys come in and really try and take over games. That's what they want to do. Like we spoke about what Scott Machado's mindset might be. I guarantee you Nathan Sobey's coming out there with a killer mindset of, I'm going to eat this up. No one can stop me. And to be honest, he's probably right.
Well, it is all happening up in NBL1 North as we head up to Brisbane and catch up with not just one, but two special guests from the Spartans. Welcome Maddie Rocci and also Leo Rocci Fullerton.
Thank you.
Hello, Leo. Oh, we love a dog on the NBL1 show. We'll let him go now. Maddie, how are you? You and your team are dominating, it's fair to say.
Yeah, I'm well. I mean, this team that I'm playing in is with an amazing bunch of girls that are just super talented. So, I mean, we're playing well. I mean, I think we can definitely play better than what we are. But, I mean, it's such a good group to be a part of. And
you had a really good WNBL season and continuing to get better. Really, every single day you step on the basketball floor. What do you want to get out of this NBL1 season on a personal level?
Yeah, so I moved from obviously Rip City to the Spartans this year just due to the fact that I was going to play with girls at WNBL level to obviously help me going into the next WNBL season. I obviously knew that I didn't need to be out there scoring 40 points a game. I wanted to be that player that was going to work on my assists this season and get the players around me involved in the game, as well as being that player that can also score at a given time.
You mentioned WNBL players. There's plenty of them on your team. Nadine Payne is one of them, and you guys have been teaming up really well. How are you enjoying and finding playing with fellow athletes who are of your calibre?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to play with them, especially in an off season. You don't really get the chance to play with that many WNBL players, I wouldn't think. So to have them in my team this season is going to be really important, and it's going to obviously help me going into the next WNBL season. I mean, we all obviously still learning on how to work with each other. I mean, we've only played 6 games and everyone wasn't there at the start of pre-season. So, I mean, we're only going to get better and better. And I think once we click, I mean, we're going to probably be pretty unstoppable.
Well, we're looking forward to that. And touching on the WNBL season in the Hub, you're outstanding and we really enjoyed watching your growth over that season. How did you find the Hub experience firstly? Did you really enjoy it?
Yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed the WNBL Hub. I think just being in that environment where I got to play basketball basically every second day and didn't have to train was a positive, to be honest. But I really enjoyed it, and to have it done before Christmas. Obviously, we didn't get the result that we wanted, but I mean, really enjoyed playing this season, especially with Kelsey, having Kelsey and Tolo there again alongside me to help me obviously improve my game. They've always been there, and I think they've really helped me for the 4 years that I've been with Canberra. So, yeah, I really enjoyed the Hub. I think it was something that I'd obviously love to do again, but we've just got to wait and see with what's going to happen with the WNBL this year.
You've had an incredible couple of years in the WNBL and back-to-back championships, of course. How important was it playing with and under the tutelage of Leilani Mitchell and Kelly Wilson in those early seasons, 2 of the best point guards in the league?
Yeah, I was really fortunate to play alongside those 2 players. I mean, going into training day in, day out and just having them there to obviously play with and against was something that really helped me build my game. I think even being in that training environment and just watching them and seeing what they do and how they go about things on and off the court has then helped me obviously become the player that I am today.
Well, learning from the likes of Leilani Mitchell, you were part of the Opal squad, unfortunately didn't make it to the cut of the Olympics, but still young and plenty of time to get there. How exciting is it just to have that little glimpse of potentially suiting up in the green and gold for the Opals at some point?
Yeah, obviously not making that team was something that was quite disappointing to me, but I obviously looked at it as something that's a positive to get that experience at such a young age. And I just knew that if I wasn't going to make this Olympics, I have many more opportunities down the track to put the green and gold on and represent the Opals at the World Champs and the Olympic Games. So, I mean, I'm going to take this as something that I'm going to work harder at. And obviously, I mean, the girls that were selected at the camps was one of the best experiences that I've ever been a part of, just to be in a training environment with girls that I've never played with before, but then to play against and also be teammates with, and obviously sisters, is something that was really special and one that I will never forget.
Well, you talk about it was going to be really tightly competitive for that Opals final squad. It was so talented. WNBL Hub, the Opals coach was Sandy Brondello was there watching. Was there certain games where you knew you had a matchup coming up that you were really like, this is a time for me to show what I'm capable of, and that if I do get selected, I can perform at this international level right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone hates playing against me because I'm that player that loves defensive pressure. So every time that I stepped down the floor, no matter if Sandy was watching or not, I knew that I had to put my best foot forward. And for me, that was my defensive pressure. And I think that then flowed into my offensive game. So I was always going to be that player, no matter what team I play on, that's going to start that defensive energy. And obviously I knew that if I was selected in the Opals, it would be due to the fact that I'm really aggressive on defense. But I mean, it didn't go that way, but it's not the end of the world for me. I'm just going to keep working. But yeah, I knew going forward that defense was my main focus.
Now, your career is on the rise, and so is that of your boyfriend, Tom Fullerton, who plays for the Brisbane Lions. Tell us a bit about the relationship and I guess both being young rising stars in your respective sports and how you support each other and I guess help each other get the most out of your careers.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty competitive, to be honest. I think he still beats me in shooting games because obviously he used to play basketball and we met at the Australian Institute of Sport. So, yeah, I don't like that. He can still beat me on the 3-point line, but that's okay. but yeah, I mean, he loves his football. He loves the Brisbane Lions, and I think it's really good to be with someone who's an elite athlete because they can just understand you at any given time of the day. So yeah, and I mean, I support him every way that I possibly can. I mean, he's super supportive of any decision that I make, and obviously I play in the NBL North to be up in Brisbane with him. So it's really good to be up here and play games in front of him because he hardly gets to see a WNBL season. So yeah, I'm really enjoying being up here.
So you guys obviously do long distance at times, but put that to the side because the real long distance relationship at times is with Leo. So how hard is it to leave Leo? And I know it was pretty hard for you going into the hub, having to leave your pup.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against Tom, but I think leaving Leo is probably the hardest thing. Why is he tugging on my arm right now? Yeah, I mean, I get sad if I even have to leave him just to go to training. So the WNBL hub and any other WNBL team is super hard. I think he's like my best friend, so I really can't go anywhere without him. I mean, I even take him to watch Tom play football, so we really enjoy that.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Now that Tom is playing football at an elite level, everything's changed where you normally got to watch him play basketball. He was playing with the Bullets and playing some really good basketball. So is that change, I guess, when you're not at the basketball court? It's nice, refreshing to see a new sport that you get to go and be a real big part of because he is playing at such a high level.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always grown up around football. My siblings play, and I think we are massive, my family are massive Richmond Football Club supporters. So I always grew up around football, and now that I'm in Brisbane and I back the Brisbane Lions, I mean, I love going to any game, even if he's not playing in the AFL. I think just getting out to a different environment is something that I love to do. And then obviously when he plays in the VFL, it's always good because you get to go to the Oval, you're nice and close, you get to be in that atmosphere, and it's just a different change of scenery every time.
You do have a tight-knit family, as you mentioned, and you gained another member earlier this year in Amy Clydesdale, a WNBL player and championship player herself, married your brother Christian. So it's going to be interesting times in the WNBL with two Roccis running around.
Yeah, I actually did ask her that question if she was going to wear the Rocci on the back of her jersey. I mean, it'll be super cool to see, hopefully play or see her with the Rocci on the back of her jersey. So that would be really cool.
Looked like it was a beautiful time for everybody and a lot of WNBL players around. So nice little time to party and celebrate that.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to see the amount of WNBL players that were there, and just it went really fast. I mean, the ceremony and then just being at the reception, it just went with the click of the finger. Just the build-up was really cool. But to be there and be a part of their special day was something that I'll always remember, definitely.
Well, there's been some great wedding pics and reception pics on social media. I've also liked the social media pics of you, Miss Rocci, modelling for Under Armour. You've got the jumper on there, so just sit back a little bit so we can see the logo. Sit back a little bit. There we are. But yeah, you're doing some work with them, which is great. And how important are those sort of brand alignments when you are a rising star of the game? I guess we talk so much about women in sport and building profiles. So how important is that sponsorship?
Yeah, I mean, when my agent contacted me and said that Under Armour were going to sponsor me, I was pretty shocked, to be honest. I mean, I've always wanted a sports sponsor and someone that can give me those clothing and those shoes to help me throughout every season. So yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, to see the amount of gear that you get, and then to promote them on my social media is something that I find is really, I mean, it's exciting and it's cool to be a part of such an amazing brand also.
Well, it's definitely well deserved. And before we let you go, I've got to ask this question. When you look at the WNBL hub, was the fan a problem at one of the venues shooting wise? Because that was something that was brought up. There was that the fan is the reason that no one can shoot well. I can't remember what stadium it was.
At Mackay.
Mackay.
Was it an issue? Or was it a bit of mayo?
I think we went well at Mackay, to be honest.
Yeah.
We lose a game in Mackay, and then we went to I don't know where, and then we lost some games. So
there you go. So a bit of mayo from everybody.
Home.
Yeah, that's what I thought. A bit of mayo from everybody. It doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you have the season that you had, I think fans can't stop you, even in Mackay. Great to catch up with you today, Maddie. Loving your work in NBL1 North. You guys are undefeated, so hopefully you can continue that unbeaten run and enjoy some success this year. Thanks for joining us this week on the NBL1 show.
No worries. Thanks for your time.
How good's Maddie Rocci? Great to catch up with her.
Oh, she's great. And as we said at the top of the show, really looking forward to seeing how her career goes. She's only getting better every single day, it seems like she steps on the floor. And you'd be happy with it. Anytime a dog is involved, you're up and about. As soon as we saw Leo, you're up and about.
I was. We're still just working on the schedule when we can bring our dogs in.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yep.
Okay. Let's crack into the NBL1 Women's Team of the Week now, and some big performances at the weekend. Starting with Amanda Johnson for Southwest Metro, 31 points, 19 rebounds, 8 assists against Ipswich.
That's a massive game from Amanda
game.
Johnson, and that is exactly the kind of stat line we have in the Team of the Week. Only 2 conferences we spoke about who went around this weekend, and then another one from East Perth, Mary Goulding, 35 and 13 versus Willerton. She's been popping up a bit.
Yeah.
We're starting to see Mary put on some good numbers.
Well, we saw her, of course, for Bendigo Spirit in the WNBL hub last season. And we talk about it so much, but this season can be really big for players that are kind of on the fringe of WNBL, getting another contract and continuing to extend their careers. As we move on now to Casey Samuels from the Gold Coast, 33 points and 12 rebounds against Rockhampton. She's in some top form too.
She is. And another one in that Team of the Week, Stacey Barr from Warwick, 31, 13 and 8. Another really big performance. And we speak about those opportunities just to keep putting up good numbers, stay in the eyes of everybody that's watching, and that's a big game.
Well, someone who continues to be in the spotlight is Kayla George. Opal's commitments coming up soon. She'll, of course, be off to her second Olympics. 26 points, 23 rebounds against the Gold Coast. She's starring for Mackay, which is no surprise.
Yeah, no one's going to stop her in that league when she's getting in that kind of form. Looking forward to seeing what happens in the Olympics with her.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on the NBL1 show this week. We'll hopefully have South back soon, Pete. I know that bottom lip keeps dropping. We're missing all the action here in Victoria, and missing watching you for the Spectres, of course.
I don't know about that, but we are looking forward to that getting back, and we'll keep you updated as soon as possible.
We sure will. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy basketball this week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I was building on a lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure.